Good morning, everybody. Wow, so many wonderful faces again this morning. This is great when I get my whole screen filled up with people. And we are here at the English Readers Theater. I want to, first of all, just take a moment again for condolences to Grace, who has been a backbone member here and with the Readers Theater from day one, who has now lost her uncle just after her grandmother. And Grace, we're thinking about you, and we love you, we miss you, and we can't wait until you're able to come back into the group. Anyhow, so you've all received the story for today. I don't know if you had a chance to read it, but I'm going to share a screen with you now. And I actually asked a question, and I don't know if anybody happened to look up what I was talking about. The Legend of Slappy Hooper, an American tale. And there are 9 characters in this story. So we have the 3 narrators, Slappy, Rose Red. We're changing, it's supposed to be Baldwin Eagle, it says in the script, Mr., but we're going to change that to Mrs. Ray Sunshine and Michael. Now, last time when we had our group meeting, we talked about because we used a male and a female voice in the water cycle, it seemed to have made a better connection to the fact that it was still the 2 drops that were going through the water cycle. And so in understanding that, when you do that water cycle with your kids, that will be something that will be in your mind. Now, another piece is that the script is written and you can't really switch whether it's a female or a male. For example, Michael, who is coming, you know, the angel and whatever, really needs to be a man. We can't really make that a female. The others you can play with, but that one you can't. So here are the parts. Katrina, you are narrator 1. And Nadia, you are narrator 2.
Okay.
Olga, narrator 3. Abdicata, you are Slappy. Nilangela, you're Rose Red. Ray Sunshine is Mustaf. Michael is Nigel. And I am going to be Mrs. Baldwin Eagle. Okay? Everybody all set with their parts? Thumbs up?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the play, starting with narrator 1.
Yes. Can you help me with the name, please? Paul
Banyan.
Paul Bunyan. Paul
Bunyan.
Bunyan. And this one is Pecos Bill.
Yes, thank you. Shall we start?
Yes.
You've heard about Paul Bunyan, the greatest lumberjack of all time.
And you've heard about Pecos Bill, the greatest cowboy.
Now let us tell you about the world's
Biggest.
fastest
Bestest.
sign painter. Bestest, very nice.
And that would be Abdicar.
Slappy.
Which one exactly, please?
You are
Slappy?
Slappy here, right
Okay.
here.
That's me, Slappy Hooper.
You'd better believe Slappy was biggest. Why, he was 7 feet tall with shoulders to match, and he weighed 300 pounds, even without his cap and coverall and brush and bucket.
And fastest?
Just give me an 8-inch brush.
Slip?
Slop.
Lap.
The job was done.
And so smooth, you've never seen a brush stroke.
And you bet Slappy was bestest. That was on account of his pictures.
No one else ever made them so true to life.
In fact, some folks said they were too true to life.
Slappy's trouble started with a huge red rose he painted on the sign for Rosie's florist shop.
Rose red.
Neil and Jenna, we can't hear you. Unmute your microphone.
Muted.
Slappy, it's so real.
Said Miss Rose Red, the owner.
Why, I can just about smell the fragrance.
But a week later, Rose Red fluttered into Slappy's sign shop.
Slappy, that sign of yours was too good.
Abdicata?
Slappy.
Abdicata? Did we lose him?
Is it
Too
me?
good. I'll do it. Too good. Too good.
That's,
Too good.
That's-
Too good.
Yeah.
That's
Abdicata,
right.
don't mute. Go on, I'm sorry. Rose Red.
Neil and Jenna, read.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. The bees got wind of it and swarmed all over that rose, trying to get in. They scared away all my customers. That was bad enough. But wait till you see what's happened now. When they reached the florist shop, Slappy saw that the bees were gone, but the rose had withered and died. No one buys from a florist with a withered flower on her side. That's the last thing you paint for me, Slappy Hooper.
The story got around, but most folks just laughed, and they still wanted Slappy to do their signs.
His next job was to paint a billboard for the Eagle Messenger Service. Slappy painted an eagle 3 times larger than life.
Oh, amazing!
Said Mrs. Baldwin Eagle.
It's so real. I could swear I saw it blink. Wait a minute, I did see it blink.
Then the bird flapped its wings and flew right off the billboard.
That sign was too good. That's the last time you'll work for me, Slappy Hooper.
Folks were getting scared to hire Slappy, but at last he got a job from the Sunshine Travel Agency.
The billboard was to show a man and a woman on a beach toasting under a hot sun. Slappy painted it all day. Slappy painted it the day after a big snowstorm. Ray
Mustafa?
Sunshine.
Mustafa?
Wonderful.
And Mr. Ray Sunshine.
Why? That sun makes me feel hot, and look, the snow on the sidewalk is melting.
But a couple of days later, Slappy got a call.
Slappy, your sign is too good. Get down here right away.
When Slappy arrived, he saw that the sidewalk and street in front of the billboard were covered with beach chairs. People sat around in swimsuits and sunglasses, sipping lemonade and splashing suntan lotion.
Ray. Mustafa.
They are blocking the traffic, and the mayor blames me. Besides, they won't need me travel agency. If they here, you have got to do something, Slappy.
So Slappy set up his gear and got to work. He painted the sun on the billboard much hotter. Before long, The crowd was sweating buckets and complaining of sunburn. Then everyone packed up and left.
Good work, Slappy. Look at that.
The man and woman on the billboard were walking off too.
Just then, a leak of flame shot up the wall of the building across the street. Slappy's sign had set on fire. In a few minutes, fire trucks climbed up and firefighters turned hoses on the flames.
Slappy, try something else.
Slappy got back to work. He painted a storm cloud across the sun, but he had to jump clear when the cloud shot bolts of lightning.
Then the storm broke.
Slappy's cloud rained so hard, the billboards overflowed and flooded all of Main Street.
Never again, Slappy Hooper.
After that, no one on earth would hire Slappy. It looked as if his sign painting days were done.
Slappy felt so low, he made up his mind to throw his paint kit in the river. He dragged it onto the tallest bridge in town and was just about to chuck it when a voice thundered out beside him.
Don't dump that gear, Slappy. You're going to need it.
Right next to Slappy stood a man almost as big as Slappy himself. He wore a paint-splotched white coverall and a cap with two little angel wings sticking out. He carried an 8-inch brush.
Who are you?
I'm Michael from the Heavenly Sign Company. The boss has had an eye on you for some time, Slappy, and he likes your work. He's got a job for you if you don't mind working in the rain.
What's that? A slap?
It's abdelicada.
Abdicata.
Oh, tell me about it.
We need someone to paint a rainbow this Wednesday. Most of the time, we handle all the rainbows ourselves. But it's going to rain in a bunch of places Wednesday, and we could sure use some help.
I'm your man.
Said Slappy.
That Wednesday morning, Slappy rented a cannon and set it in a big cow pasture. He tied 2 ropes to his scaffold, then ran the other ends through a couple of skyhooks. Then he loaded the skyhooks in the cannon and shot them straight up.
Boom.
Sure enough, the skyhooks caught on the sky.
Slappy felt the first raindrops. He piled all his paints and brushes onto his scaffold, climbed on, and hoisted himself up, up, and up. He kept going till he was just under the clouds. Then he tied his ropes and started to paint.
Slip,
Slop.
Slap.
He had only just finished when the sun popped through the clouds and lit up what he's done.
There never was a finer rainbow. It had every color you could imagine, each one blending perfectly with the next.
And not a brush stroke in sight.
Just then, Slappy felt a big jolt. He looked up to see what had caused it.
Oh no!
The sun had run smack into his skyhooks.
Slappy shut his eyes and waited for the long drop to the ground. But it never came. When Slappy looked again, he saw why.
For heaven's sake!
Slappy's hooks had caught on the sun itself, and the sun was pulling his rig across the sky.
Now, another sign painter might have been frightened, but not Slappy Hooper. He was enjoying the ride.
It covered a good distance when Michael appeared on the scaffold beside him.
The boss liked your rainbow, Slappy.
You mean it wasn't too good?
If it isn't too good, it's not good enough. That's how we figure. Anyway, now that you're here, the boss has another job for you, if you don't mind working odd hours.
Tell me about it.
It's the sunrise and sunset. I guess you know, the boss himself has been painting them since time began. But he's done it so long, he'd like to give someone else a chance.
I'm your man.
said Slappy Hooper.
Slappy's been up there ever since.
Of course you can't see him with the sun so bright, but he's there all the same.
Night and day, the sun pulls Slappy and his rig around the world, and every time Slappy comes to a horizon, he reaches up with his 8-inch brush.
Slip,
Slop,
Slap,
the job is done.
Another brush stroke in sight.
Yes.
Very nice. Nice job. Yeah. We still, I guess, have to work a little bit, some of us, on mute on, mute off, mute on, mute off. I don't know when I put that in the newsletter if you got that was sort of a pun on an American show, Karate Kid, that is way, way old, you know, wax on, wax off. And anyhow, mute on, mute off. But you guys did an awesome job. What did you think of the play, first off? Let's just talk about the play itself. Did you enjoy it? What was it about? What was it explaining? Who'd like to start?
You know, maybe the first time, if you read it, I mean, if it's your first time to read it, you cannot really concentrate more. You need just to read it twice, maybe. And I wonder why exactly Slap? Maybe he seems to be the hero, taking the maybe the principal position in the story. Though he yeah, he was
Are you talking
somehow
about the
absent.
slip, slap, slop? Abdikar, I just want to stop for a second so I can clarify. Were you talking about the slip, slap, slop?
No, things are different. Yeah, so that's it. Okay.
Do you
It's Slap.
understand? Yeah. Who wants to explain? Was he hitting anybody in the story when you said slap? What was going on with that piece? Who can tell me?
so he was painting something
Slap.
with his brush. Yeah.
What do we call what narrator 1, 2, 3 went slip, slap, slop? What is that? We talked about it before.
Yes.
His manner of painting.
Manner of painting. Onomatopoeia.
Yeah.
Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. Yeah.
Yes. Those are the
particular
sounds of
sound,
him
right?
painting.
Yeah.
Nobody was okay. And you're right. And that's why I try and get the scripts sent out to you, so you have a chance to, you don't have to read it thoroughly and say, oh, that's which part, because you don't know. But to get an idea of what's going on. But it was also interesting because I, make assumptions sometimes, and obviously I read the play and I know who Pecos Bill is and I know who Paul Bunyan is. And doesn't everybody know? Of course everybody doesn't know who Paul Bunyan and Pecos Bill is.
I actually did read it through in preparation this time, so I did my homework first.
And speaking of that, I'm going to bring up something else, and that is, if you had a chance to watch and listen to Jim Baker, he talks about giving them his notes and everything before he teaches, so that he's more effective and the time is used better, and he calls it flipped classroom. It doesn't matter really what you want to call it, but so if I send the plays out early, that gives you the opportunity to then read through it, so when you come to the club, you have a knowledge of what we're going to read. And I send all 3 of them, not expecting you're going to read all 3 of them, beforehand, but maybe the one that's coming up. And to take that a step further, we could have had you send back after you'd read it, maybe a couple of questions like, who is Pecos Bill, or who are the characters that they refer to, or whatever. Because then that alerts me and reminds me that, of course, everybody doesn't know it. And I would have been more prepared to have been able to have backed you up with that. And I'm not, but I will be on Wednesday. You know, we'll talk a little bit about those tall tale people that we have in American fairy tales. But what else about the story did you enjoy? What did you think about it? What things was the story explaining? What parts of nature was the story explaining as far as how it exists?
So the painter was too good to work on earth, so he was taken to the sky, to the heaven, to paint sunsets and sunrises and rainbow and all those things.
Rainbows and sunsets and sunrises, yeah. You know, Indian folktale have all sorts of tales about how certain things happen, and even in mythology, how the sun is going and being carried across the sky. So it's just another form of saying how it is that we... Did you think when you started to read the story that it actually would end up being that it was painting the rainbow and the sunset and the sunrise? Did you know that it was going that way, or have any clue? Or was it a surprise?
It was a surprise for me.
Yeah.
It was unexpected. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was kind of fun, wasn't it? Kind of went off in a different direction. Okay.
Michael's entry was kind of a ray of hope for Slappy Hooper.
Yeah. And you know, it's interesting because it also brings in another question that I hadn't thought about, and that's when Katrina said he wasn't good enough to be able to do anything here on Earth, so they took him up there to you know, use his skills and the beauty of things. So did Slappy die?
He became immortal. He lived forever.
Yeah. Okay. And saying, as Michael said, something to the effect that if it wasn't good enough, what was exactly that line? Let me see if I can pull that up when he talks about.
If it was too good, then if you are not too good, then you are not good enough.
Right. If it isn't too good, it's not
Mhm.
good enough. Yeah. And what did you think that statement meant? Or what did that kind of mean to you? Because that's kind of a philosophical kind of statement, isn't it? What did that mean to you?
Nigel has something to say, raising his hand.
Nigel?
You're on mute, Nigel. You're on mute.
I was scratching my chin. I wasn't raising my hand.
Oh.
I was scratching my chin.
You know, you have to be careful when you're on Reader's Theater or at an auction, because you could be buying something really fast, really expensive if you're not careful. But it was interesting to me that he seemed to be too good, and so he wasn't allowed to do that because he was too good. And what is too good? If one does one's best.
So very often people do not appreciate our efforts. So many famous people, artists, writers, are not appreciated during their lifetime. And only after they are gone, people start to appreciate their work. Maybe this is the sub-meaning.
The idea. Mm-hmm. So he was ahead of his time, perhaps, something like this idea.
Even in education, there are sometimes educators who are not appreciated in their system. They are considered to be not appropriate, ahead of time.
They are out of the box.
Doing out of instruction, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I loved what Jim said in his interview. Is he's not out of the box. He's kicked the box out. There is no box. So at some point we're going to rephrase that or get box out altogether, because in fact, we don't work in any kind of box, and so. But I liked and I hope you had a chance to see his talk, because it was really great, and I hope that we'll be doing more with Jim. And just to put in a blurb, Peter Berg is going to be on tomorrow, and he has written a book for teenagers. And if you have teenagers, I think he'd be or children, I think he'd be a great person to start asking questions, particularly during the period of time we're in now, because our kids, our teens and stuff, are really affected by it. Yes, Nigel?
I have to read the book by tomorrow.
I hope you saw posting and stuff, because he is like you. He spreads happiness throughout, and he's a member of the AERO.
And another one like me. Oh my goodness.
Yes, and I'd like to make sure Pecha is there, because he also is running a conference that's coming up in a couple of weeks, which I'm speaking at, and I hope that you'll also get an opportunity. It's free and it's online, and it's 3 days, so it doesn't mean that you have to be there 3 days. But if you get in there for an hour here and an hour there, I think would be great. Yeah. But he'll tell you all about that. He's a pretty neat guy. And just checking back, would you like to do the story again and mix up the parts? Yes? Okay. So,
Okay.
all right. I'm going to make let's see. Since Slappy doesn't have to be a boy or a girl, how about Olga? Would you like to be Slappy?
Okay.
And narrator 1, narrator 2, narrator 3. They really are very key. Why do I say that those 3 parts are kind of key parts? What do I mean by that as far as in the play? What's important about those 3 parts, besides the fact that the narrating is what?
This means that there are kind of principal characters that would give, let's say, life, vivid principal roles in a given story. So they're kind of key. They are taking key roles within the story. So if ever we attempt to to move or to leave out one of them, this would affect the story.
That and you guys did it automatically. The narrators played with each other through the thing, in a sense. They were back to back. There was places where you were actually almost stepping in and answering the other one, and that if you had done the slip flop, okay, so you know that sometimes they are back and forth, like the water drops were, the 2 of them together. To really make it vivid in the minds of the people who are listening and in your own, you have to be able to be on top of things. And so that's just another piece, because it helps with the understanding and the reading of the play. So Nigelian, I have you, Nuliangia, I have you as narrator 1. Abdicator, I have you as narrator 2, and that means you've got to keep your mic open and watch, because you're narrator 2, and so that's right in there. And I can't put Katrina Mustaf. You're going to do narrator 3. Okay,
Mustafa,
Mustafa? 3.
letter 3.
Right. And Olga, Rose Red.
You said
And
I was
Slappy, Olga Slappy.
You said I was a Slappy.
I'm sorry. No, Nadia, you don't have yet, right?
Yes.
You're Rose Red. Okay, I was looking at you. I just called the wrong name. And Nigel, can you be Mr. Bald Eagle? And that leaves Katrina. You are Mrs. Ray Sunshine. You are the sun. And I guess I'm Michael. Okay. Is everybody good?
Yes.
All right. And so I would Abdikada, you're gonna want to, and Mustafa, because you're in the narrator and you're going to be playing with Nilandria. And here we go. Let's share the screen. Just get this down. Out of the way. There we go. Narrator 1.
You've heard about Paul Bunyan, the greatest lumberjack of all time?
And you have heard about Pecos Bill, the greatest cowboy.
Now, let us tell you about the words.
Biggest,
Fastest,
Bestest,
Sign Painter,
That's me, Slappy Hooper.
you'd better believe Slappy was biggest. Why? He was 7 feet tall with shoulders to match. And he weighed 300 pounds even without his cap and coverall and brush and bucket.
and fastest,
Just give me an 8-inch brush.
Slip,
Slop.
Slap,
The job was done.
And so smooth, you'd never see a brush stroke.
and you bet Slappy was bestest. That was on account of his pictures.
No one else ever made them so true to life.
In fact, some folks said they were too true to life.
Slappy's trouble started with the huge red rose he painted on the sign for Rose's florist shop,
Slappy, it's so real.
said Miss Rose Red, the owner.
Why? I can just about smell the fragrance. Abdelkader?
Abdelkader.
But a week later, Rose Red fluttered into
But a
Slappy's
week
sign shop.
later, Rose Red fluttered into Slappy's sign shop.
Slappy,
Yeah.
that sign of yours was too good.
Too good?
That's right. The bees got wind out of it and swarmed all over that rose, trying to get in. They scared away all my customers. That was bad enough. But wait till you see what's happened now. Mustafa.
When they reached the florist shop, Slappy saw that the bees were gone, but the rose had withered and died.
No one buys from a florist with a withered flower on her sign. That's the last thing you'll paint for me, Slappy Hooper.
The story got around, but most folks just laughed. and they still wanted Slappy to do their signs.
Abdul Qadir.
His next,
Sorry, it was muted. His next job was to paint for the Eagle Messenger service. Slappy painted an eagle 3 times larger than life,
Amazing.
said Mr. Baldwin Eagle.
It's so real, I could swear I saw it blink. Wait a minute, I did see it blink.
Then the bird flapped its wings and flew right off the billboard.
That sign was too good. That's the last time you'll work for me, Slappy Hooper.
Folks were getting scared to hire Slappy, but at last, he got a job from the Sunshine Travel Agency.
Billboard was to show a man and woman on a beach, toasting under a hot sun. Slappy painted the day after a big snowstorm.
Wonderful.
Said Mr. Ray Sunshine.
Why, that sun makes me feel hot. And look, the snow on the sidewalk is melting.
But a couple of days later, Slappy got a call.
Slappy, your sign is too good. Get down here right away.
When Slappy arrived, he saw that the sidewalk and street in front of the billboard were covered with beach chairs. People sat around in swimsuits and sunglasses, sipping lemonade and splashing suntan lotion.
They're blocking traffic, and the mayor blames me. Besides, they won't need my travel agency if they take their vacations here. You've got to do something, Slappy.
So Slappy set up his gear and got to work. He painted the sun on the billboard much hotter. Before long, the crowd was sweeping buckets and complaining of sunburn. Then everyone packed up and left.
Good work, Slappy. Look at that.
The man and woman on the billboard were walking off too.
Just then, a lick of flame shot up. The wall of the building across the street, Slappy's sign, had set it on fire. In a few minutes, fire trucks clanged up and the firefighters turned hoses on the flames.
Slappy, try something else.
Slappy got back to work. He painted a storm cloud across that sun, but he had to jump clear when the cloud shot bolts of lightning.
Then the storm broke.
Slappy's cloud rained so hard, the billboard overflowed and flooded all of Main Street.
Never again, Slappy Hooper.
After that, no one on earth would hire Slappy. It looked as if his sign painting days were done.
Slappy felt so down. He made up his mind to throw his paint kit in the river. He dragged it into the tallest bridge in town and was just about to check it when a voice thundered out beside him.
Don't dump that gear, Slappy. You're going to need it.
Right next to Slappy stood a man almost as big as Slappy himself. He wore a paint-spotched white coverall and a cap with two little angle wings sticking out. He carried an 8-inch brush.
Who are you?
I'm Michael from the Heavenly Sign Company. The boss has an eye on you for some time, Slappy, and he likes your work. He's got a job for you, if you don't mind working in the rain.
Tell me about it.
We need someone to paint a rainbow this Wednesday. Most of the time we handle all the rainbows ourselves, but it's going to rain in a bunch of places Wednesday, and we sure could use some help.
I'm your man.
said Slappy.
That Wednesday morning, Slappy returned a cannon and set it in a big cow pasture. He tied 2 ropes to his scaffold, then ran the other ends through a couple of sky hooks. Then he loaded the sky hooks in the cannon and shot them straight up.
Boom!
Sure enough, the sky hooks caught on the sky.
Slappy felt the first raindrops. He piled all his paints and brushes onto his scaffold, climbed on, and hoisted himself up, and up. He kept going till he was just under the clouds. Then he tied his ropes and started to paint.
Slip!
Slop!
Slap.
He had only just finished, but the sun popped through the clouds and lit up what had done.
There never was a finer rainbow. It had every color you could imagine, each one blending perfectly with the next.
I'm not a brush stuck inside.
Just then, Slappy felt a big jolt. He looked up to see what had caused it.
Oh no!
The sun had run smack into his sky hooks.
Slappy shut his eyes and waited for the long drop to the ground, but it never came. When Slappy looked again, he saw why.
For heaven's sake!
Slappy's hooks had caught on the sun itself, and the sun was pulling his rig across the sky.
Now another sign painter might have been frightened, but not Slappy Hooper. He was enjoying the ride.
He had covered a good distance when Michael appeared on the scaffold beside him.
The boss liked your rainbow, Slappy.
You mean it wasn't too good?
If it isn't too good, it's not good enough. That's how we figure. Anyhow, now that you're here, the boss has another job for you, if you don't mind working odd hours.
Tell me about it.
It's the sunrise and the sunset. I guess you know the boss himself has been painting them since time began. But he's done it so long, he'd like to give someone else a chance.
I'm your man.
Said Slappy Hooper.
Slappy's been up there ever since.
Of course, you can't see him with the sun so bright, but he's 3 all the same.
Night and day, the sun pulls Slappy and his rig around the world. And every time Slappy comes to horizon, he reaches up with his 8-inch brush.
Slip!
Slop!
Slap.
The job is done.
And never a brush stuck inside.
Nice.
Very nice, very nice.
Now, I actually was writing down a few notes while we were reading, and I'm going to write up the notes, and I will send them to you. I'll put it into the English Readers Theater group so that people can see. And I'm going to ask you to also do something from the notes, and I'll get this put up into our channel, right? And I'd like you to take 15 minutes at some point in the next day or two to listen to it and to find either in yourself or someone else a correction that you want to help them with. or that you found that you corrected yourself. All right? And let me just sort of do that one more time. And if you, okay, I got a thumbs up. That's good. If you don't understand what I just asked you to do, give me a thumbs down. But we're kind of sort of moving that up a bit now, and we're really working on let's listen and start to critique what it is. I'm also going to probably write down some questions like what did something mean, okay, so that you can think about that, because I see a lot of things that are not directly saying, but the words kind of indicate or symbolize what something is happening. So I was taking some of those out too. So I'll write that up and I'll put that in a PDF in your group. I will put the video up on our channel. And I noticed that people are beginning to join the channel, which is great. And share the videos that are there, both of the Readers Theater and Outside the Box. And pretty soon we'll have a Kids Reader Theater piece up there as well. That you're going to send me the names of the kids who would be interested in beginning the core group of the Kids English Reading Theater, and a suggestion of the time, okay, for the kids. And once a week? Twice a week?
Yes.
Okay, those are questions I'm asking you, okay, to think about. And half an hour? 1 hour. Nigel, would you unmute?
Unmute.
Sorry. Hello, can I just hop in a minute? Sorry. On this kids theatre, as a native speaker, and Tracy as well, and for the adults as well, I know we've got a Facebook group and a Facebook Messenger group. I'm very interested in the community management aspects and building community. So I'd like to talk to Tracy about that, as what we can do to build community of the kids and of the adults around the English Readers Theatre. Okay, that was just to flag up the idea of community management.
And we'll talk about that, because we kind of have to have that. I'm hoping that we're going to have groups globally, and that we can then have a place where groups are able to come to another space to perform for each other something that they have written or that they've been doing, so that we are starting with little ones, and then they have opportunities to blend and share out, and again create, there's baby Carol, create material that's going to go, we hope, into a library for other people to be able to enjoy and share out as well. Okay. So we have any other questions? Nadia, you look so tired.
A bit sleepy.
It's late.
It's late. And so think about all of those questions. You have my email. Some of you do send me back a message and say I got or whatever. So feel free if you want to send me back an email with some of your thoughts and answers, and then I'll kind of compile them and let you know what comes back. All right? Okay. This has been great. I look forward to seeing you Wednesday. Wednesdays, only like 5 characters. I'm hoping to do just that. Break you into 2 groups. Each of you practice, and then each of you come back, and one performs for one group and the other group, so we can practice that listening and critiquing too. So I'm hoping we get enough people for that. Move and push it. And again, I thank you all. And
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Enjoy your day.
Tracy, I would like to say something. I really liked your nicely manicured nails.
Oh,
I love the color.
these are not, you are so sweet. I can't tell you, they are not nicely manicured nails. Okay.
They look
Because
nice, very bright. Very bright.
I had my nails done 2 weeks before I got shut in to COVID. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
so that would be the beginning of March. That's all in March, all of April, all of May, and now I'm into June. Now these things are not supposed to stay on more than like 6, 7 weeks. I refuse 2 months or 2.5 months, right? So, but this is a little long. So they've gotten so long, I'm trying to drumble them down to save them. And the polish is actually, we just put it over the other polish to see if we could keep them together until till it opens up, because they're not open here yet.
Yeah.
So some people can go and get their hair done and look all beautiful, and other people are still confined to the compound because nothing's open. But thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, it's interesting how we notice different things, and that's fun.
Yes, and one more thing. I think Olga hasn't got your newsletter. Do you have her email?
Olga, you didn't get the newsletter? Okay, I should have had it. Let me well, I can't double check. Would you just put it in the chat box, and then I will send you one, and see, maybe Mustaf is the only one that I know is not getting it, because your email comes back to me every time, and I don't know what to do about that. Unless you have another email.
I didn't get any newsletter.
No, because Mustafa, your email comes back to me as not being able to be delivered.
Yeah,
So, were you able to download it off of our group?
how can I do that?
In our messenger group,
Messenger group.
in the messenger group, this last time I put up all of the plays, the PDFs. I put the newsletter up. I put all of the plays up in the messenger, just in case you didn't get the newsletter. Okay.
Okay.
So check the messenger, because along with that, there's a lot of good information that people are putting in there, and that's where ideas are put in there and thoughts and stuff like that. Okay, so use it. There's another little one. I love it. And so I'll say goodbye to you all.
He's shy.
He's shy. He'll get, so he'll come out as he gets used to things. It's okay. And see, as he hears us and sees us. So goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
And,
Bye. Bye. See you.